Hey folks, it's Charlie here. You're watching a Charlie in the Rain interview, and I am probably the most excited I've ever been to be doing one of these interviews because I'm sitting down with an artist who has soundtracked my entire adolescence. We had EPs coming out when I was in that formative phase of starting high school, a debut album when I was 16, which is that scary time when you're trying to get your life together and you think you know what you want, but you don't. And now we have an album that's actually coming out the week after I turn 21. So I'm so excited to sink into this new album. I'm joined here today by one of my all-time favorite artists, Ruby Fields. How are you doing today?
Hey Charlie, I'm really good. When's your birthday? Is it the 20, when would it be? The 17th or something?
It's the 13th. So my birthday's on the Monday and this comes out Friday afterwards. So it's enough
Yeah.
time to fully sit with it.
So what city are you in? Are you Brisbane? Because
Yeah,
I
I'm
met
up
you
in Brisbane. Yeah.
sick. Sorry, my dog might bark a time or two. I live across from a train station at the moment, so there's a lot of stimuli. Well, if you would like to come to our Brisbane show, it's on the 2nd of May, and I'd love to give you and your friends some door spots. And yeah, happy 21st too. That's awesome.
Thank you. I am very terrified, but also I feel a lot more comforted knowing I'm going to have a whole new album of your songs to get me through it because I mentioned to you before, your music has been such a pivotal part of my adolescence. So thank you so much for that.
Oh, no, thank you for saying that. That's honestly the biggest compliment anyone could ever give me. So thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. You've just released your latest single. I have been frothing over this. I literally just came from uni where I had it on repeat. Muscle is out everywhere now. It is, again, all of your songs are so meaningful to me. So I can't really say this with an unbiased tone, but it is such a great track. I want to talk specifically about one certain line, and I hope I've heard this correctly. Another tin disguised in gold. Can you tell us a little bit about this line and how this ties into the overall album of your sophomore album, Small Achievements, which is coming out ever so soon?
hmm It's so funny because I feel like the whole rest of the song is very metaphorical and I can definitely outline exactly what each lyric means. And then another tin disguised in gold. I think it's kind of meant to mean the lyrics right before that saying, and I see myself in them, I never found out who I am. And the idea is kind of meant to be that no one really has any idea who they are. That finished form of you never happened. That's, it's pretty much happens when you're dead. It's like you present a certain way to everybody, but on the inside, there's constant things going on. There's constant revelations happening. There's constant lessons being learned. So yeah, the idea was, there was obviously the tie-in of 4X Gold or something, I suppose, because I was working at a pub up there. But yeah, just another tin disguised in gold, beer reference, personal growth reference, and just, yeah, slowly figuring out who you are. And tying into the album, I suppose, yeah, the whole small achievements thing was very based on physically and literally one of the patrons of the pub getting a trophy for his golf achievements, and everyone celebrated it so much, and because it mattered to him and he matters to everyone there. We put a lot of pressure on ourselves to make sure that our achievements have to be these ginormous, huge things, and then remembering that's all subjective entirely. And for me, I was starting to put it at, I guess I've put an album out, but I haven't toured overseas enough. And, instead of just sitting there and going no, I've done all these things and I'm so proud of them. Getting to the end of the way and knowing that you did 30 minutes of exercise a day or something. There's just all these other little things. And I think I've learned the last few years that so much more matters than just career. It's the emotion, the spirit, all these other things that matter so much to nurture and celebrate the achievements of, because there's achievements to be had in all of those aspects of your life. So yeah, I suppose each song on the album is somewhat a reflection, looking at all of those aspects of my life and trying to get to the bottom of them, or even just kind of meditating on them more or thinking about them more. So yeah, it's just I suppose it's a reflection of every aspect of my life to date, and yeah, I'm really excited to put it out, and I think that even a kind of realm of music. So I was really excited to kind of make this a very diary entry kind of one, because I've never been able to write not diary entry, if that makes sense.
One thing that is so ever present throughout all of your music, really, and throughout your whole career so far, is this idea of like suburbia. You make music that feels very Australian. You talk like it paints a big image of where you are, what you're going through, which is what I feel makes it so relatable. But with this album, Small Achievements, you're taking it like a step further. You are bringing us to your Northern Rivers life, and you're integrating so much of that into your music. How does it feel to be putting a bit of Northern Rivers into music and immortalizing your experience forever, letting us all into your little daily life in Northern Rivers?
I think I'm not the greatest at being like present online, and maybe I'm like I don't have my finger on the pulse enough of how to do that, and I think it's kind of prevalent in my social media, and my way of kind of doing that is music, like my updates with my life and everything are pretty much in all of the songs, like my relationships, what's going on with the band, where I've traveled to, what's happening in my direct environment. Like there's a song on the album called The Floods, which was about the Lismore floods, and about volunteering there, and yeah, just a bunch of different things like that. So I think that I'm so happy and stoked to, yeah, like you said, immortalize the Northern Rivers, because it was just such a beautiful time in my life, and like I'll probably be back, I don't know, but every song kind of from start to finish just feels like a taste of life up there, and all of the kind of lessons I learned and everything, and all the people that were there too. Like I think working at a pub, like I've got lots of mates that are musicians, most mates that are musicians that work a job, obviously. I've got a couple that don't, which is, that grind hard enough to be able to make that a reality. But working at the pub personally felt like it gave me a lot of stimuli to write about. I'm talking to all these people, my workmates, like they're working obviously as another friendship group, and like especially when you do something that's social, like working at a pub or like a cafe or something. I could never do cafe work because I'm not a morning person, and the customer's always right thing would probably get on my nerves too much, but I do love and appreciate a bit of banter between customers at a pub. But yeah, it's just every song I listen to off that, especially because up there I slowed everything down, and especially my writing process, music. And I really wanted so much more to focus on the musicality this time in the album. And I feel like we really got to do that. And we recorded the album so slowly, like we did one song by one kind of thing. And like the post would fly up, we weren't there already. And we would spend a day kind of playing around with what I'd written. And then we'd go in and record. And every song felt like it got like special treatment, which was really cool. And obviously, yeah, it was all written and recorded, everything up there. So yeah, it feels very, very like a world in itself.
Yeah. You said you've given every song, like you've given it its time to shine. You've given it the world to fully sit with it. Is there a particular song that you haven't released yet? Because we've only got a few singles so far. Is there a particular song that you're really excited to see how everyone resonates with it or everyone reacts to it? Because this is such like a hyper-specific, like personal soundtrack to your experience in this location. How do you think these songs will translate to people completely removed from it?
Yeah, it's funny. Like, I think that like much more so, like I was saying with this album, it's like much more musically focused. So I think people in general might be, especially people that have already listened to my music a lot, I think will be pretty, maybe even just taken aback by the musical approach to things. But I think content-wise, or just like a song as a whole, I would say there's one song that's kind of my deep cut favorite, and it was Muscle, but I think everyone's kind of heard that now. There's a song called The Gums, and it's this song about getting in your own head when you're in a relationship or something that feels maybe a bit more fresh than that, and there is just 1,000 voices going on in your head all at once, all this self-doubt, all this insecurity, where you look at yourself in the most like harsh lens, and your capacity for love and a bunch of other things. So yeah, I think and like the music side of that, and like there's these like 70s, not even 70s, like what era would you say like Enya is?
Gosh, I don't even associate Enya type music with a time period. That's just a whole
I
thing.
know
in
it's
itself.
timeless,
Like,
but like
yeah.
I don't even know when, like I don't even like that this fuck, this is gonna sound really bad, like 90s, but like it was it's like those kind of harmonies, and it's like it was a really left to center kind of thing, and yeah, all the lines, all the instrumental lines in that are just beautiful, and yeah, I'm definitely really excited because I think I find anyway that the music of mine people connect with the most is when I'm quite like, like I suppose Dinosaurs was a very raw emotional song at the time that it came out, and that was written when I was like 18, and now I'm nearly 28, and I actually turn 28 like a week after it comes out. So
Oh my gosh.
yeah, so it feels like it's kind of like it maybe a little bit of more of a grown-up take on the things that I feel anxious about. So yeah, I'm excited for that one, I think, and all of them really. It's hard to pick one because I've sat on it for so long.
I'm really excited because the tracks that I've resonated with most of yours, they've always felt a bit older than me, a bit more mature than me, probably because there's the divide in our ages. But songs like Dingo and Song About a Boy was probably the one that sits with me the most from the album, because I'm just like, they're such like, they're tracks that at first I don't feel like a strong relationship to, and then I grow up and then I'm like, whoa, like that song sits so well. So I'm so excited to keep growing up alongside your music and then step into those tracks. That's it's such a monumental part of my story is your music.
Oh dude, thank you so much. Dingo, I can literally remember I wrote Dingo and Dinosaurs at the same time within the same week, and Taz, my bass player, wasn't in the band yet, and I was 18. I just moved out of home, and I was living in a little shoebox room with a few mates, and Taz was over. We were all drinking and we were really drunk, and I was like, I'm gonna show you these songs I just wrote, and I was showing him Dingo, and I remember going to him, and then there's gonna be a lead line like this, doo, 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 and like was trying to play it at the same time, and he was like, oh yeah, that sounds cool. And then fast forward and we're recording it together because I asked him to be in my band. I love that song. I've got a really big like spot in my heart for Dingo. I love that track. But Song About a Boy too. The original name for that song was Song About a Boy I had a crush on, but now I don't anymore because he sucks. So
Honestly,
that was
valid.
a bit too long for the vinyl.
See, well, that is a shame though, because I love when there's a whole story just in the title alone.
That's true. Missed opportunity.
But it keeps the mystique. There's like the little bit, it's like, what is the song? What is the story here? Dive into it. And yeah, you mentioned before you're heading on tour. You're bringing a little piece of Northern Rivers to a lot of places actually with the Small Achievement Tour. Can you tell us a little bit about this? How excited are you to take this album, these songs on the road and play them for people?
To be honest, like so excited, but it's been kind of hard coming up with the set list because we love the album so much that it's like, what are we gonna take out? And then we've kind of thought maybe we just won't. So
keep going.
We're gonna play for ages, and we have come up with a really crazy dynamic set list. And I said dynamic set list, and lights, visuals, like we've kind of tried to think of it all, and we're just so excited to play it for everyone. And I think obviously now with the addition of Harry Joyce on keys and doing like backup vocals and extra guitar and atmosphere, like it just feels like a big step up. And after recently kind of coming like into being an independent artist now completely, like self-managed, no label, it's it's been a very hard slog to get the album out, but I'm really, really excited to show everyone, because now it feels like we've got this newfound sense of like a lot of creative freedom, and we're going to be able to do the show exactly the way we want it, and I'm really, really keen.
Yeah, that's something that, like, as a fan, people just buy the tickets. They're like, okay, love this artist, buy a ticket, you'll hear your favorite songs. But there is so much more you're putting into this, all behind the scenes. Now independent, congratulations on that. Yeah, I'd love to ask how fans, listeners, whether they're like me and have an insane emotional attachment, they're a casual Triple J listener and they've found your music through that, how can we best support you with the release of Small Achievements, with the upcoming tour, and get our love for your music to you?
Like, look, I'm also, renting a house in a rental crisis and everything else that's going on. I know how expensive things are these days, and like the funny thing is, every time I've gone to release like an EP or an album, or like gone to go overseas and finally been ready to do it, it's I think like the first time it was COVID, and then the second time when we actually like went to release the album again, the second wave of COVID lockdowns hit.
Yeah.
Now the third time we're about to release an album, the third release or whatever you want to call it. Yes, it is only the second album, but like with this big third release that we're going on tour with, and it's meant to be this big tour, and then all these other things are happening in the world and making it crazy, and being like, I don't even know if we're going to be able to like do this tour with like airline things. So yeah, everything's a bit scary and up in the air at the moment. So I guess I almost like don't want to ask for any kind of financial support, because I know how much everyone else would be struggling, because I am too. But if people are in the place to like, getting a vinyl, and especially like pre-sale tickets make such a difference. Obviously it's not like the vinyl's still pre-sale at this point in time, but the tickets aren't anymore. But pre-sales for artists, whether it's tickets, vinyls, whatever, really go statistically to help an artist with knowing the kind of venues they can be booking. Like that data is all so important. So yeah, I guess like remember, like if you're in the place to getting in the pre-zone for a few things for artists is a really good place to start. But at the same time, I would say the nicest thing to do is just always when you get to meet an artist, if you do, just going up and saying hello and saying like actually nice things. A lot of us are very insecure on the inside. So yeah, I suppose the best support that you can do is actually just nice, being a nice person.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, artists are just people. Your favorite artists, yeah, you've heard them on the radio, you've seen them under the big lights. They're also human.
Definitely. Like all of my, like not all, obviously there's a lot of famous artists that I would still very much love to meet, but the artists that I have met that I used to be like, oh my God, like completely fan out over and not know what to do with myself when I was talking to them, and now some of them are friends of mine, and it's just like, oh yeah, we are actually all literally the same insecure, anxious person that is just doing our best.
Honestly, I'm feeling so grounded right now, but if I was doing this interview several years ago, I wouldn't have stopped shrieking. I would be like yelling at the top of my lungs. It's personal growth. We're getting there.
I feel you. I still do stuff like that when I'm nervous, and when I've seen like an artist that I really, really like, I always just like talk over myself and like trip over things, and you have not done that at all, so that's great.
I'm so glad. You can't see that I'm like shaking immensely.
Not at all.
And we mentioned favorite artists, so I want to ask you my favorite question super quickly. I want to know who you're listening to, if you have any local acts or acts from across the broader country that you've been frothing over lately, and would love to just give a cheeky little shout out to.
A really topical one would be Bad Dreams. They've just released their new album, Ultra Dundee. Unfortunately for the foreseeable future, or the known future, it's their last album, and they're taking it on the road, and actually their Sydney show is on my birthday. So I'm going to be there celebrating my birthday that day. I just love those boys. I wrote a few of the songs, or like a few of the musically, a few of the things for the album with Alex Cameron, who is the lead guitarist of Bad Dreams. He's also a plastic surgeon, he's a genius. But he's just so like wildly passionate. Bunsy's just an incredible drummer. Like they're such an incredible band. They're so fucking intelligent. They care so deeply about the right issues. And I do not think that now is the time for them to be leaving, but I totally understand that life takes over. But yeah, they're a very important voice in the Australian music industry. And it's a very sad day to see them go, but definitely supporting them on their last tour and selling that tour out and buying their record. Yeah, that's the shout out for sure.
Yes. Okay. I love that. When I saw that news come through, I was like, I have to read this again. This isn't right. Yeah.
It was, yeah, you know, it's such a hard choice for any band to make, and I completely understand any band having to make it. But yeah, sad day, because I've lots of my memories, you know, from bands like Soho and Baddies and stuff. So
yeah, absolutely. Oh, thank you for that shout out. Thank you so much for making the time to chat all things small achievements. I've been frothing over these singles. I cannot wait to sit down with the full body of work. Thank you so much for sharing your music with us. Like,
thank
insane.
you so much for taking some time out today to talk to me.